In an empire where heaven chose the ruler and women were born to serve, one woman shattered the divine order. Wu Zetian, a concubine who learned to turn obedience into a weapon, silence into strategy, and devotion into domination. She rose through the blood and whispers of the Forbidden City, outliving kings and rewriting the laws of power itself. To her enemies, she was a murderer. To her followers, a savior. But history remembers her as something far more dangerous, a woman who dared to wear the crown of dragons. Was she China's greatest tyrant or its most visionary ruler? This is the untold story of Wu Zetian, the Dragon Throne's Dark Queen. Before we continue, I want to pause for just a moment. Every story we tell here lives because of you, the viewers who watch, comment, and share these forgotten histories. If you're drawn to tales like this one, where power, faith, and fate collide, take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support doesn't just grow this platform, it keeps history's most haunting stories alive. Now, let's return to a time when Wu Zetian was still only a name whispered among servants. A young woman walking the polished corridors of the Tang Palace, unseen by emperors and courtiers alike. Yet behind those quiet eyes, ambition was already taking shape, silent, patient, and sharper than any sword. Because before she became the Dragon Throne's Dark Queen, she learned to survive as the Emperor's shadow. The Tang Empire, 7th century AD, a world where men ruled by divine decree and women existed only to serve it. In the bustling capital of Chang'an, behind the golden walls of the Imperial Palace, a young girl walks through carved gates taller than any temple she's ever seen. Her name is Wu Zhao, just 14 years old, the daughter of a timber merchant, educated but ordinary. She's one of hundreds summoned to serve Emperor Taizong, the Son of Heaven. To most, the palace is paradise. To her, it's a prison wrapped in silk. Days blur into rituals, morning prayers, silent meals, and endless waiting. The Emperor never calls for her. Yet, Wu Zhao watches. She studies the games of power played behind painted fans. Who bows first? Who hesitates? Who whispers before speaking? Every gesture is a language, and she learns to speak it without words. The harem is a cage of rivals. Some weep, others flatter, most fade. But not Wu Zhao. She smiles when ignored, listens when dismissed, and remembers every name, every glance, every weakness. One night, the Emperor challenges his attendants to tame a warhorse said to kill any who ride it. The court laughs until Wu Zhao steps forward. "Give me 3 things," she says, "an iron whip, an iron hammer, and a sharp dagger." The room falls silent. The Emperor studies her, half in awe, half in fear. That was the moment they began to whisper. The girl is dangerous. But danger, in the palace, is just another name for potential. When Emperor Taizong dies, tradition demands that all his childless concubines are sent to monasteries, shaved heads, silent vows, forgotten names. Wu Zhao obeys, outwardly, but behind temple walls, she waits. Each prayer she recites is not devotion, it's rehearsal. She hears the gossip carried by monks and pilgrims. The new emperor, Gao Zong, is young, gentle, and lonely. The girl who once walked through palace gates as an offering now prepares to return as something else entirely. The woman who will rewrite the order of heaven. The convent bells toll across the valley. Among the rows of kneeling women, one head does not bow as low as the others. The world believes Wu Zhao has been erased, but history does not forget the patient. One spring morning, a royal procession arrives at the temple. Emperor Gaozong, son of the late Taizong, walks among the monks, his eyes weary from court politics. And when he sees her again, the silence between them breaks the air. The girl he once knew is gone. In her place stands a woman carved from stillness, and the emperor cannot look away. Tradition forbids it. No son may take his father's concubine, but Gaozong defies the heavens. Within months, the once-forgotten nun returns to the palace, cloaked in scandal, whispered about by ministers and queens alike. She returns not as a servant, but as a storm. Empress Wang, Gaozong's lawful wife, believes she can use this new woman as a distraction, a pawn against her rival consort Xiao. She welcomes Wu with a false smile, saying, "A flower is harmless until it blooms." But Wu Zhao has learned flowers can poison too. Within a year, she bears the emperor a son, and with that child, she binds herself to the future of the dynasty. Whispers grow like roots through the palace halls. The empress becomes restless. The emperor's advisors tremble. And in that tension, fate gives Wu the weapon she needs. One night, her newborn daughter dies mysteriously in the nursery. No witnesses, no explanation. The emperor finds Wu weeping, and she accuses Empress Wang of jealousy, of murdering her child. Rage consumes him. The court divides. Some whisper that Wu herself killed the infant, a sacrifice for the throne. Others swear the empress did it. No one will ever know. What matters is this: within a year, Empress Wang is stripped of her title and imprisoned, her rival consort Xiao thrown beside her. Then, in an act that would haunt history, Wu gives the order. Both women are executed. The chronicles say their limbs were cut and dipped in wine, their bodies left to bleed beneath the palace floor. Whether myth or truth, from that night onward, no one doubted who ruled the palace. In 655 AD, Wu Zhao is crowned Empress of the Tang dynasty. The courtiers kneel. Gaozong smiles, weak and enraptured. But the woman beside him does not smile. Her eyes are steady, not in triumph, but calculation. For Wu Zetian, the throne is not a reward. It's a battlefield. Every whisper, every glance, every alliance must now bend toward her. She has claimed half the empire's power. The other half still resists. But Wu knows what the old generals and scholars do not. Power is not inherited. It's taken, one silent step at a time. Years have passed since the coronation. The empire bows to Gaozong in name, but behind the throne, every decree bears the shadow of one hand, Wu Zetian's. In the candlelit halls of the Daming Palace, ministers whisper her name with both reverence and dread. They call her the Second Sage, equal to the emperor himself. But others call her something else, the Iron Lotus, beautiful, unyielding, deadly when pressed. Gaozong's health declines, migraines, fainting spells, weeks of weakness. When he cannot rise, Wu holds the imperial seal herself, hearing petitions from behind a silk curtain. At first, she advises, then she commands, and the empire obeys. The courtiers begin to realize the woman behind the curtain is the one truly ruling China. Some resist. They conspire in whispers and poetry, warning of a world turned upside down. But Wu does not silence them with rage. She silences them with paper. A decree reforms the civil examination system, allowing men of talent, not birth, to serve. The old aristocrats lose their privilege. The poor gain hope. For the first time in centuries, the empire's fate can be changed not by bloodline, but by brilliance. Scholars call it progress. Rivals call it her trap. Because the men raised by her new system are loyal, not to the Tang name, but to her. At night, she prays in golden chambers. Candles flicker before towering statues of the Buddha. She funds temples, builds pagodas, and orders sutras engraved across the empire. The priests preach a prophecy that a divine ruler, born as a woman, would usher in a new age of peace. In their sermons, that woman has a name, Wu Zetian. Through faith, she crafts legitimacy. Through fear, she maintains control. Outside the palace walls, her empire thrives. Silk caravans ride west to Persia. Foreign ambassadors bow in her courts. But within those walls, the air thickens. Her network of informants stretches from the lowest servant to the highest minister. Secret police root out rebellion before it breathes. The guilty disappear. So do the innocent. And yet, the empire remains stable, prosperous, and vast. History will never decide whether she ruled through wisdom or terror, only that she ruled better than most who came before her. Gaozong's final illness comes quietly. The court gathers, silent as he struggles for air. The emperor dies. And when the incense clears, the empire does not mourn the Son of Heaven, it looks to her. The ministers kneel before the throne, and Wu Zetian steps forward to receive the imperial seal. She does not weep. She does not bow. She simply says, "Continue the work." And so the work continues, under her hand and her law. China has never known a ruler like her, and it never will again. The empire kneels to a woman, yet the palace walls grow colder with every passing year. Wu Zetian's reign is unchallenged. Her reforms have reshaped the empire. Her armies hold the borders, and her temples rise higher than ever before. But power is a beast that feeds on loyalty, and loyalty is born from fear. She begins to see betrayal everywhere, in the courtyards, in the ministers, in her own blood. Her eldest son, Crown Prince Li Hong, grows bold. He questions the arrests, the disappearances. He dares to ask, "Mother, who rules the empire, you or the law?" He dies a few months later. The court records say illness, but no one believes it. Another son whispers rebellion in exile, found dead soon after. Those who speak her name too loudly vanish into the night. The dragon throne, once a symbol of divine order, has become a throne of silence. Yet the empire prospers. Under her rule, China becomes the heart of the world. Merchants from Rome, Persia, and India crowd her capital. Streets glow with oil lamps. Markets overflow with silk and gold. Foreign ambassadors kneel before her, men who once swore a woman could never rule. She receives them beneath banners embroidered with a single symbol, the phoenix, not the dragon. The empire's spirit, reborn through her. But in her private chambers she prays to the heavens for silence. The dreams come every night, her sons whispering accusations, her rivals bleeding wine red into the floor, the faces of those she buried for the sake of peace, and still she cannot stop. In 690 AD, she makes the final move no one believed possible. Wu Zetian dissolves the Tang dynasty, the dynasty of her late husband, and proclaims a new empire, the Zhou dynasty. Not empress, not regent, emperor. The mandate of heaven, once reserved for men, now belongs to her. Official proclamations describe her as the divine monarch, chosen by the cosmos. Coins bear her face. Her name appears in scriptures beside the Buddha himself. The courtiers kneel, trembling, unsure whether to praise or to pray. She rises from her throne, veiled in gold, crowned with a phoenix, and declares, "Heaven's order is not fixed. It favors those who are strong enough to claim it, and for a brief, blinding moment, she is the most powerful person on earth. Yet power, like flame, consumes what it touches. Old allies vanish, her spies begin to lie, generals plot behind closed doors, the people whisper that heaven is watching, and it sees blood. The empire trembles beneath its own perfection, and in the heart of it all, Wu Zetian stands alone. The dragon throne has been conquered, but it is not a seat. It is a mirror, and in it, she sees no emperor, only the shadow of what power has made her. Winter descends on Luoyang. The golden banners that once fluttered over the palace now hang heavy with dust. The woman who ruled an empire for half a century grows frail. Wu Zetian, the girl who became a god, is 80 years old. Her empire is crumbling, not from war, but from time. The men she trusted are gone. The ministers who feared her now circle like vultures around a dying sun. Her throne sits empty for days, the imperial court waiting, whispering, wondering if heaven has finally reclaimed what it loaned to her. In her private chamber, the emperor lies awake. The same woman who once stared down armies now struggles to lift her own hand. The once mighty phoenix crown lies beside her bed, its gold dulled, its jewels missing. Yet her eyes remain sharp. She knows what the chronicles will say, that she was a monster, that she ruled through blood and terror, that she defied every rule of man and God. But she also knows what they cannot erase. The roads she built, the laws she reformed, the schools, the temples, the bridges, the prosperity that outlived her reign. She has no illusions of forgiveness, only of endurance. Her sons return to the palace as she weakens. They strip her banners, dissolve the Zhou dynasty, and restore the Tang. They take back her empire, but not her legend. The day she dies, the capital is silent. No trumpets, no mourning crowds, only the wind against stone. Yet in the hills outside Chang'an, a tomb stands waiting, vast, unmarked, eternal. Her final wish, no name, no title, no inscription, just a blank stone tablet facing the heavens she once defied. Centuries later, scholars still stand before that stone, tracing its smooth surface, wondering what she wanted it to say. Was it remorse or defiance? Did she leave it blank because no words could contain her story, or because she knew that time itself would write it for her? In the silence, the wind whispers through the valley. The woman who became emperor. Her name was Wu Zetian, and whether she was tyrant or savior, monster or visionary, she proved one truth that even heaven could not deny. Power belongs to those who dare to claim it.